first thing in the morning down. It's quite chilly. You can see on the breath. And I'm just thinking we're into bike time, and lo and behold, we're into bike time. Morning! Well, it's December 2014. I've come down to Orchid Lake in Oxford for a little bit of winter fishing, and I'm pleased to say it's been pretty successful. This is the result. 23 pound of absolutely cracking, dumpy little mirror carp. It was cold last night. There was cat ice in the margins. My hands at the moment are freezing cold, but this is exactly when orchid really comes into its own. It is a brilliant, brilliant winter water, well worth a visit. So let's have a little look around Orchid itself. What do we know about the lake? Well, it's 17 acres in size. There's between 250 and 300 odd fish in here, which means it's quite a lot of fish for an area of 17 acres of water. But the big thing for me is the history of these carp. They were stocked in the 1970s, and the majority of them are leany. So there's not many places in the UK now that have got these old, traditional, historic British fish in. I'm on a very famous stretch of bank, and this water behind me at the moment, this is an area known as Chris's Bar. It's a great area through the winter and the early part of the season. March in particular, this is one of the best pegs on the lake. But you've got iconic swims like Powley's and the Drum on this side of the lake. On the opposite side, you've got the Middles, the New Middles, Dead Dog, Snag. Those sort of areas are great in the winter period because they cast into this large open water behind me. Now, if you like short-range fishing, there's places like the All Alone or the Snag Swim, where by the very nature it means you're fishing fairly tight to snags. All Alone, you've got a bit of peace and quiet and you're in a quiet bay, and there's also pads and all sorts of areas where fish do frequent. But you know what? The majority of the time in the winter, they're either going to be in the snags or alternatively they're going to be out in the main body, which is why this is such a great place to come and fish. Water depth, well, it's between 4 and 6 foot deep. There's no weed. The water's crystal clear, and those fish, they get out into the middle of the pond and they love it when the food goes in, so don't be shy, get a bit of bait in there. For rigs, the best thing to do is just keep them nice and simple. Helicopters work well, as do a lead clip. There's a lot of gravel out on the bottom, but there's also a reasonable amount of silt as well, so just keep the baits on top of that and you won't go far wrong. So that is basically it for a little walk around Orchid. What I can absolutely do is recommend the place, because you know what, there's some fantastic winter fishing to be had here. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to get the fight on film, but I've just landed an absolutely beautiful fish from Orchid. The carp in here, they're stunners, they really are, and it's a lovely piece of old history. And there's one down here that weighs, would you believe it, 29 pound 15 ounces. So, without further ado, we'll get him out and have a look at him. Just look at that. That is a carp. That is a stunner. Well, here we are. It is December. That is what I call a result.